Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, I'm joined by my friend Chris.
What's going on, everyone?
And we're down in Georgia once again, attending a media event with Nissan, and we're focusing on the new 2017 Sentra SR Turbo. This video is going to be a little bit different from my typical reviews. We're going to focus on more of the traditional, in-depth review aspect. We're also going to put a vlog twist to it between Chris and I, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We have the stick shift car here and the X-Tronic CVT over there, so we're going to be comparing between them, talking about what's different between, the Turbo versus a regular SR and the rest of the Sentra lineup. Of course, go over the performance data, take it on that thorough drive, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. So without further ado, let's go and hop on in, start her up, let her run. So a remote smart key entry system is standard on the SR Turbo, as is push button ignition. So to start it, all you have to do, just make sure you have the key fob within the interior, and with the manual transmission, put your foot on the clutch and hit the button to go. Simple as that. Alright, so we're driving around in technically the 7th generation Sentra that's been on sale since 2013. Yep. They've been doing a bunch of little things to it over the years to keep it updated.
Just upgrading and upgrading and upgrading.
To keep it fresh and all of that. Definitely the most significant changes came last year, like the 2016 model year, where they completely revamped the exterior styling. Yeah. I think they refreshed a little stuff in the interior, like the steering wheel, which is just fantastic looking. I think this is a much more attractive car after the 2016 refresh. It's very much like the new Maxima that I filmed already, the new Altima that was a whole bunch of new Nissan cars came out in 2016.
Yeah, that was the year of the car for them.
Yeah, so it was definitely pretty cool. I love the headlights. This one has LED headlights up front, partial LED tail lamps, that boomerang type style.
Oh yeah.
This is a very sharp looking car for this segment. It's very sporty. The SR has unique 17-inch wheels that are partially polished and painted. The painted portions have like a bluish gray metallic tint. Yeah. It's very cool, and they got these like ribbed portions.
Yeah, it's like a wave.
It's cool. Very, very neat. Yeah. Nice attention to detail with that. The body itself is pretty much the same across the entire Sentra board. The SR has more pronounced side skirts, which gives it a little bit more of a planted stance, like looking at it from the side profile. And it's got a rear spoiler back there with a polished exhaust tip and stuff. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. It's got Nissan's V-Motion grille up front, a little bit of chrome accents, the chrome door handles, the window treatments and stuff gives it a little bit more of a premium look and stuff. So the SR Turbo is new for the 2017 model year. It's the first time they've ever turbocharged a Sentra, which is really cool. Because they've sold over 4 million of these cars.
Been selling Sentra for over 35
I had no idea.
35 years.
I had no idea. They didn't do it for fuel economy or anything like that, even though it still gets pretty good fuel economy. It's an all-out performance model. It's great.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so we found some pretty awesome back roads that we're having a little bit of fun with the Sentra Turbo, and it's probably the best time to go ahead and talk about Powertrain, because that's where this car really differs, the most over a regular Sentra SR. Where that car has a naturally aspirated 1.8 liter 4-cylinder, this one has a turbocharged and intercooled 1.6 liter 4-cylinder, making 188 horsepower.
It's like a 50% increase from last year to this year.
What does the other one make? Like 130 horsepower or something?
Yeah, this is a big
It's
jump.
A big difference. And I've rented quite a number of these cars with the X-Tronic transmission, and the acceleration in this is night and day.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
When I first rode in it with you when we took it out yesterday, it just threw me in the seat, and I was like, what? This is sick.
Yeah, it's great. And that horsepower is made at 5,600 RPM. That's the peak. Torque is 177 pound-feet, which is also quite a lot more. I think it's 52 more, something like that, and that's between 1,600 and 5,200 RPM. So it's got a pretty flat torque curve. It's got a lot of low end grunt and carries on pretty strong.
Oh man, this car is awesome.
It's great. You know, the transmission's really nice too. You actually have two choices of the transmission. So unlike the regular Sentra SR, which is only offered with Nissan's X-Tronic CVT, this one you can get that, or you can get a 6-speed manual. The only way to get the manual transmission in the naturally aspirated Sentras is in the base model S.
Yeah,
no manual SR, no manual SL, nothing. This is your only chance to get the most sporty
and it's like a really aggressive price point.
It is.
Yeah.
What is it, like 22.9
for the base?
Yeah.
And like 22 for the top of the line with the manual transmission.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff packed into it.
It's amazing.
But what's pretty cool too is the transmissions are actually unique to this car. So the X-Tronic has, you know, different gear ratios and like smaller pulleys and stuff. It's just designed to make it a little bit more responsive, gives it a little bit extra fuel economy and stuff. And we'll hop in that vehicle in just a second to talk about how it behaves and stuff, because, you know, the manual is awesome, but there's going to be a lot of auto purchasers as well, and you know, everyone has their place.
Yeah, everyone has their flavor.
Yeah, and this one, you know, the manual transmission has its own unique ratios as well, and it's just a fantastic driving car. All right, so as far as more tech information about the engine, it's got a 10.5-to-1 compression ratio, 4 valves per cylinder, direct fuel injection, dual variable valve timing, aluminum block and head, all that good stuff.
All that stuff.
One thing that's pretty unique about this engine is that instead of having cast iron bore liners, it has spray guided mirror finish bore liners, which reduce internal friction by about 12% compared to the iron liners, makes things more efficient and more lively and all of that good stuff. Yeah, it's definitely a pretty unique setup. And with the intercooler, it reduces the charge air temperature, so you have denser air, more efficient combustion, more energy being developed, and all of that. One thing that I'm really surprised about this car is how quiet it is.
It's so quiet in here when you're driving.
I mean, it's obviously a 4-cylinder and everything like that. If you wind it out, you're gonna get typical 4-cylinder sound and stuff, but honestly, it sounds really good, and it's never too raw sounding. It never sounds like the car is straining, even in like 5,000 RPM, something like that. They've done a really good job quelling interior noise. I think probably the only thing that I would suggest, and this is just super picky, I wish it had a louder exhaust note.
It is a little quiet.
All of the noise is coming from up here. No matter if you drop into third gear, just absolutely hammer it. There's no sound back there at all.
It's strange. It's like so quiet.
Yeah.
You can hear it all right there.
All right, you ready to drive?
Yes.
Let's talk about fuel economy first.
All right, we're gonna do this quick. All right, fuel economy for the 2016 Sentra was 29 miles to the gallon in the city and 38 miles to the gallon on the highway, for a combined 32 miles per gallon for the whole.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, they haven't released official numbers on this car yet. We've been driving very, very spiritedly today.
Very spiritedly.
We're averaging around 26. I think.
Not bad though.
No, in normal driving, I think it's going to be around 30.
Around 30.
It's going to be a little bit less because it's developing a lot more power, and those numbers you were talking about were with the X-Tronic transmission, which is probably just a tick better than the manual, because CVTs are very efficient transmissions. So yeah, I would say around 30. Maybe 29 average.
That's not bad. It's still really good.
Not bad at all.
Can I drive now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try not to crash us.
I'm not. I just hit my head on the roof. It's not a good start. We going anywhere specific, or are we just taking for a lovely spin?
Go back to the fun roads.
Okay. Hey, you don't have to tell me twice.
All right, so now that I'm over here, I'm going to talk about the interior and stuff, and let you just kind of focus on what you're doing over there. Make sure you don't throw us into a tree around these curves.
You know, I'm not the most prolific manual transmission operator, so that's probably a good call.
All right. So, like I talked about earlier, we're basically in the 7th generation Sentra right now. This interior, for the most part, has been around since 2013. It still looks very, very fresh, and they've done some updates to it, especially with the whole total refresh that came last year, like with that steering wheel. It's really nice.
Comfortable, I like the bolsters. It's got a good feel to it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's great. And the other two, like just in general, the build quality is really, really good for this particular price point. You have a soft touch dash, you have the cloth portion across the middle portion of the door right here, an extremely padded armrest.
These seats.
Yeah, and like I said, it's very quiet. It hits the road with almost no road tire noise and stuff. There's not a lot of like wind noise and stuff. I mean, the aerodynamic properties of the car are really good. So you can carry on a very normal conversation.
Yeah.
But again, you don't feel like you're driving in a $22,000 car because everything feels very solid. You close the door, it's like a nice soft thud. The seats are extremely comfortable. This one that we're driving right now is more of a standard configuration. It's got cloth seats, manual 6-way. Easy, Haas.
I had to throw you into at least one solid corner.
So, anyway, manual driver's seat with height adjustment, manual passenger seat with no height adjustment. But just in general, the support is really nice.
Man, these things are great.
It got good bolstering, so I'm able to actually stay around this corner. Or stay planted through these corners.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the infotainment system and stuff like this. Because I know a lot of people have asked me, you know, just like to talk about that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's not totally up to date like the Chevy Cruze, like 8-inch screen and stuff, but still, there's nothing wrong with it. You really can't complain about it because it's easy to use. Yeah. It works very well.
Very intuitive.
XM satellite radio, iPod integration, and all of that good stuff. There's an in-dash CD player, and your media inputs are down in the console here. What is it, like USB? And
you got USB and an auxiliary port.
USB and auxiliary. You have a 12-volt power outlet in the center console, single zone climate control. I think in the SL model you can get electronically controlled dual zone, but I don't think that's available in any SR.
Yeah, I think it's just the SL.
Because the other one, the premium package one, still doesn't have it. But again, it's very simple, big, easy to use buttons, 2 main rotary dials, no fuss, no muss. To finalize the interior, let's talk about interior storage space. After everything is said and done, I'll hop in the back seat, talk about space back there, and then we'll cover trunk space. So in here, storage space is pretty generous for this size of car. Just the interior volume in general is very good. In the center console, you have a decent amount of space, probably enough to fit 3 like little water bottles or something.
Plenty of room down in there.
Yeah, 2 cup holders down below there. There's a little pocket right there that's big enough to fit an iPhone 6. You have good sized door storage pockets with water bottle holders and a pretty generous sized glove box.
A lot of room down in that glove box.
Yeah, you can probably fit an iPad, like a big iPad in there, like flat. So not too shabby at all.
Squirrel.
Don't give her a squirrel.
Okay. That was touch and go.
No squirrels were harmed in the making of this video.
I knew you were going to say that.
All right, I think people are tired of me talking about the interior. Let's get back and drive the X-Tronic.
CVT time.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right, so now we're driving around in the X-Tronic CVT-equipped SR Turbo, and it's definitely quite a unique thing because, well, for one, the CVT actually costs the same amount as the manual, so it's like it's personal preference. You don't have to think you got to save $1,000 or something by going to the manual if you wanted the automatic. I guess just makes that decision a little bit easier if you didn't want to row your own gears. This is actually a very surprising transmission. It's not quite like your typical CVTs. You know, some CVTs I've driven, you know, you accelerate and it just like hangs revs like at the top and stuff and just kind of drones a little bit. Nissan's X-Tronic gearbox has a lot of behaviors like a traditional stepped automatic. So, for example, if you just start accelerating hard, for instance, it pretends like it's, or it doesn't pretend, but it acts like it's shifting.
You can feel it. It's crazy.
I don't understand how this works. It's like voodoo. Because what a CVT is, basically, it's like an infinite like amount of gear ratios to maximize the fuel efficiency and power delivery at whatever RPM that you're traveling at. The other thing too, there's no paddle shifters and stuff like some other CVTs I've driven, but this one you can also shift it manually by the console selector below. Once you put it over, it automatically puts it in either a 4th gear or 5th gear. there's actually 7 simulated step ratios. So if I tip it backward and downshift, it has very quick rev matching downshifts. And then when you accelerate hard, I mean, it's going. So let's talk about some of the chassis and suspension changes, because aside from the engine, that's another way this really sets itself apart from the other one. So as some of you probably already know, the base model Sentra S has drum brakes in the rear, but most all the other ones or if not all the other ones, have discs all the way around. This one has bigger front brakes. They're 11.7 inches in diameter instead of 11 inches. They're internally ventilated, and they have twin piston calipers up front. There's single piston calipers out back. So because there's more weight, a little bit more weight, more power and stuff, you got more bite up front to make sure everything is kept nice and stopped when needed.
Taken care of when you really need to put your foot down.
Yeah. And the suspension changes, the spring rates up front have been firmed up. The dampers have been firmed up a little bit front and the rear. You know, have a McPherson strut front suspension. There's a torsion beam out back. And all things considered, this stays a lot more tightly planted through corners. There's a little bit less body roll. So all in all, it feels more focused towards a sporting and fun mission than any other Sentra I've ever driven.
First curve I threw it into, I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, obviously it's not a corner carver, it's not a sharp sports car and stuff, but for this particular segment and what this car is geared towards, it's perfect.
It's delivering.
It did a really good job.
Amazingly.
Yeah, and still, it delivers excellent ride quality. And I mean, you would think something like this would be a little bit more choppy over rougher roads, and thank goodness we haven't hit too much broken pavement, because all these roads here in Georgia are just blissful.
Great.
As a lot of you guys already know, with my typical reviews, I always get sound clips, no matter what it is.
Always.
So let's go ahead and pull over somewhere, get a little startup, exhaust sound, engine sound, and all of that. We'll strap some GoPros on, we'll shut up for a little while, and you can just kind of hear how she sounds, basically.
Listen to the car instead of our beautiful voices.
All right, we'll see you guys in a bit. So the CVT equipped car has the optional premium package. With that, you get the navigation system, you get leather, all the extra safety bits, and everything like that. So this is the luxury trim of the SR Turbo. And the seats sit just as nice as the cloth. You have a powered driver's seat with height adjustment and two-way adjustable lumbar, which I really like. The standard seats have good lumbar, but I always like extra lumbar. It's just more comfortable on long trips.
Less fatigue.
Yeah, but honestly, those cloth seats are nice, and I know you like cloth seats.
And it's gonna sound weird, but I'm such a fan of cloth seats. I don't know why.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, leather is great, but I love cloth.
The cloth seats hold you in a little bit better when you're going around tight curves.
Yeah.
I will say that. But one cool thing, heated seats are standard on both of them.
All the way around.
So heated cloth seats in the wintertime, if you didn't want to spend up to the premium package, is really nice. will say that. Heated cloth seats are very, very nice.
Sweet, man.
So the Sentra has a pretty good amount of interior space, like I said earlier, you know, for the segment, and a lot of that especially is in the back seat. I'm 5'10", and with an ideal seating position for myself in front, I probably have about 4 to 4.5 inches of leg space and maybe 1 to 2 inches of head space, depending on if I sit up here or lean my head all the way back. So it's an accommodating environment for a wide variety of individuals. This Sentra can also seat up to 5 people. If you slide up into the middle right here, the middle portion doesn't sit up quite, it sits up a little bit higher than the outer portion, so you lose a little bit of head space, but I still have probably about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of wiggle space. As far as the rest of the environment, it's pretty simple. You still have padded material across the middle portion of the door here, very soft armrest, the blue stitching. There's a little bit of storage down below here, 2 seat back storage pockets, and water bottle holders in the bottom of the door panels. You have fixed headrests to either side, child seat anchors, and in the very middle, a fold down armrest with 2 cup holders. Visibility is also really good. You have little quarter windows in the C-pillars there, side curtain airbags all the way around, the illumination, grip handles, and a coat hook. So that's pretty much it for back here. Let's go ahead and hop back out and check out trunk space. Alright, so it's been a very long day, very busy day, but had a lot of fun getting to explore these cars and the Georgia back roads and everything. Chris is heading back in the 6-speed right now. I'm in the X-Tronic. There's a couple more things that I want to talk about, and that's the 2 different drive modes. And both of the 2 cars we've been driving today have an eco mode and a sport mode. So the drive modes modulate throttle response, so if you're in eco mode, it dials it back a little bit with a focus on extra economy, so you won't have the same level of throttle response that you would in your normal default, driving setting that activates every time the car starts up. In sport mode, it's a little bit more sensitive, so relative to normal and eco mode, when you press the pedal, it's going to be a little bit more eager to get up and go. When equipped with the X-Tronic transmission like this one is, it also modulates transmission response. Obviously with the 6-speed manual, that's all up to you. So this one, eco mode, it prioritizes fuel economy, keeps revs low and all of that. Sport mode, basically the opposite, just like throttle response. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun, and I guess we'll be back in a second to drop these babies off. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look on the new 2017 Nissan Sentra SR Turbo. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.